Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. It's Tracy here, and if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and you'll be informed when new videos pop up. So this is my latest pattern. I'll turn it up the other way because it's really this way up, and I've made a scarf with it, but you can make a nice lacy shawl or a blanket, like a wrap or a blanket with it. I think it'd look nice as a lacy summery kind of blanket as well. But I've used some glitz yarn for this. I'm not sure if you can see it, but the glitz is the same colour as the actual yarn, but I'm not sure if it does pick it up on here or not. It's sparkling like crazy for me. Oh, there you go, you can see the odd sparkle. So this pattern is a 2-row repeat, and it's ever so easy. I've just picked up a little bit of fluff there. Don't know where that came from. It looks more complicated than it is. So I'm going to show you how to make this. I'm just going to show you a few more things that I've done with it since. I've started making this one, which I love this yarn. It's one of my favourites. It's Stylecraft Cabaret, and I do have this on a special offer in my shop, which you'll find a link to that shop, hobbyrocks.co.uk in the bottom, and a voucher code for non-sale items. But this one is going to be either an infinity scarf, or I'll just make it like a long scarf like that one. I did a bit of a test to see what it looked like in chunky yarn, because those two I've just shown you are 3-weight DK yarns, whereas this is chunky, so it's a bulky 5 across the pond, and this is what it looks like. It's just an end that I haven't got rid of. So I like it, and this is mega soft yarn. It was just some that I got free in a box once that I subscribed to, but I don't have enough to make anything with, so I thought I would just try it out with chunky, and also with changing colours every row, and then you'd get a good idea of what that would look like if you alternated the rows. I haven't tried it by doing 2 rows of each colour, which might prove a different kind of effect altogether. And then I thought I'd try it with a variegated. So this is some Karen Simply Soft that I had in a rainbow colour. It doesn't show quite as effectively because it is so variegated, this yarn. It's really changes colour pretty quickly. Mega soft, and it's a 4-weight. So that gives me a rough idea of what it's like with a 4-weight yarn. And so then I just chose a plain yarn without any glitz or changes of colour at all, and this is an Aran, so again this is a 4-weight, so you can see what it would look like in a 4-weight worsted, I think you guys call it across the pond. So those are all of the different ones that I've made so far. I'm just going to clear all of that off my table because it does take up rather a lot of space, and then I'll get my bits and pieces together to show you how to do it. And I'm going to do it with just a DK 3-weight yarn, and I'm going to use a 4.5mm crochet hook. Should show up quite nicely, and you'll just need the usual scissors and darning needles. So I'm just going to clear all this away, and when I get back I'll start the tutorial and show you exactly what you do and your multiples, etc. Okay, so I'm back now. For this particular scarf or blanket, whatever you want to make, and as you can see I haven't sewn my end in. The good thing is you don't get many ends, obviously, if you're making it in just the one colour. I've joined the yarn. I used 1.5 skeins of 100-gram ball of this yarn, which is a Hobbycraft yarn, but you can get lots of these colours with the little glitz in if you wanted to use glitz. But I haven't got the information on me that tells me how many yards that was, but if I can remember I'll put that in the description box below, along with a list of the other materials used. But that took about 1.5 skeins of 100-gram ball. My multiple for that is a multiple of 4 plus 7. So obviously you can make that as wide or as narrow as you wish, as long as you have a multiple of 4 plus 7 extra stitches. And that way, if you wanted to make it as a wrap using that really stunning yarn that I showed you earlier, that would work up really well. So I think you can tell that I'm going to make myself one of those for sure. Absolutely. So what we do then, we start with a slip knot, and you can make that anyhow that you normally would make your slip knot. And you don't want a really tight chain, but you don't want it mega baggy either. So you're just doing like a nice normal chain in multiples of 4. I'm just going to do a small swatch for you now. So I've got 1 lot of 4, I think. Yeah, it's terrible when you talk and you lose count. So I'll just be quiet for a moment. Okay, so that's my multiples of 4. So I'm just going to add 7. Okay, so that's, but I'm going to pause it, and then you can make your multiple however long you want. And when I come back, obviously, then you'll have done that. Okay, so my first row, I'm just going to do 1 in every single, one UK double or US single in every single stitch. So this loop on the hook don't count. There's my first. I'm going to go into the second one, and I'm just going to do a UK double or US single. So we're going to go all the way along. It just gives a nice base, and it's easy to pick up the stitches at the other end as well and do another line, which just creates a nice straight edge for both. So that's all we're going to do for now, is 1 in every single chain. And so I'm going to pause it because it'd be boring watching me do this, and I'll catch up with you when I get to the end. Okay, so I've reached the end. I'm going to turn my work around, and we're going to now chain 2 to get up to the right height for a UK treble, which is a US double crochet. And we're in the 3rd stitch, so this is 1, 2, 3, actually, and I think it's 4th stitch. We're going to do a V stitch, but it will be elongated. So we're going to do 1 UK treble crochet or a US double, 2 chain, and then another one in that same space. Okay, so you've got your post, and then you've got 2 clear stitches, because this post comes from that first one. So you go in the 4th. So you've got 2 stitches in between. So now we're going to go in the 4th stitch along, and we're going to do a UK treble V, just like this one, or US double crochet V. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 in the 4th one. And we're going to do another one of those elongated V's. So we've got 2 chain in between. Okay, we do less at the sides because obviously we don't need that bigger space. Again, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 in the 4th and make that V. One, 2, 3 in the 4th, make the V. One, 2, 3 in the 4th. I know you got the message now. I don't really need to do that again, do I? So sometimes when you get to the end, depending on how tight your stitches are, it may not look like you've got enough stitches, but you do. Okay, so in our very last one, we are just going to do our last stitch for our post at the end. So we'll have a row It looks like a row of zigzags, doesn't it, really? So we're going to turn our work, and we're going to do 2 chain to get up to this height. Now in here, we're going to do 6 UK trebles, US doubles. Just do 6 for now. Now we're going to link our 2 fans. So we're going to do half of one in this same space. So we're going to pull through 2, then stop. We're going to yarn over, and now we're going to go in the next V. Not this one here. We're only going in these V's that we've created. So we're going to yarn over and pull up our loop. We'll have 4 on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, just as we did in that one. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And now we're going to have 7 in each fan. But this one is fine, but for all our others, the end one will link to the next one, just as it has there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now our 7th is going to be half in this fan, half in this V, yarn over, go into the next V, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through the 3. So we're linking them together. I had tried it by doing them separately, and it doesn't really lay flat. It's not quite as good. So we're just going to link them. I'm going to do that again. We're going to do that all the way along, but I'll do it with you one more time. So you can count them. There's 1, 2, 3. So the next one's 7. So I'm going to do half of 1, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the next, yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over through 2, and then through 3. And that's what we're going to do all the way along. I'll stay with you because I haven't got a very big swatch. Might need to pull some more yarn out though. See how we go. I do, hang on a second. I think that's 5, yep. So the next one is my 7th, and I'm linking it to the following one. If I go ahead of you, then just pause me. Just need to check that that's 5. Whenever I talk, I lose count. But it'll be boring if I said nothing, I guess. Okay, so this is my last one to join, but don't finish. I'll show you what we're going to do at the end. So that should be 6. My last one. I'm still going to do my half. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go into this top. There's my chain that I'll show you in case you're not familiar with it. There's my first chain, my second chain. It does look like it's pulling over, but it won't do. I'm going to do my link to that last chain or stitch. So that's how it does look quite bunched up. We never finish on this row because it's this row that pulls it together and stops it from fanning out. So we're going to chain 2, Now we want to go into the middle stitch, so it's the fourth one along. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll make our V exactly the same as the row beneath. Exactly the same. And we're not going to do any chain between, but we're just going 1, 2, 3, 4 into that center one and make our V. Don't worry if it looks like it puckers. That's because we're pulling those fans together and it will work out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you can look at it and you can just plainly see the center one. We're going to do that all the way along in our other fans. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty soon you'll see it and you won't need to count. You'll just see the stitch. It'll be staring you in the face. See? You just know. Okay, we're at the end of the row and we just go into the top of our chain, which is this one here, and make our one on its own, so it's our post. And then we turn our work and you can see it's pulled that together quite nicely, stopped it from fanning out. So we will always end on this row, and then we can pick up the same amount of stitches on this bottom row along this top to create our border. Now you don't have to do the big fluted border that I did on my scarf. You can put tassels, you can put any border that you like, but I just put that one on to finish it off so that I could get finished and do my tutorial. Now we can't link this chain here to our first fan, but we can just do our 6 and then start linking them together. I'll do one more row with you of this. I need to pull more yarn out already. I thought I pulled out quite a lot, but obviously not enough. Okay, so if I lost count, 4. And this is our 7th, so it's half in that one, half in the next. So remember, not this one, we're going in there. 1. Half of in there, half in the next one. If I go too fast for you, you can always pause it. But this row, it's quite simple. Once you get going, it is a 2-row repeat and it's not difficult. I think it is a pattern that looks harder than it actually is. And the postman is just about to come to the door. If it's letters, I'm fine. Depends if he's got a parcel. I think he does. I'm just going to pause it for a moment. Sorry about that. It was a Christmas present arriving, so. Okay. So this is our linking. And this is our 7th one to our last fan. Just make sure that's 6. And then our last chain, there's our first one, our second chain. We'll link that together. And that's our next fan row. So we've got to pull it together. I'm going to pull out some more yarn. It's quite deceiving because obviously you're doing 7 in your fans, so it does use quite a bit of yarn. And we're going to do our 2 chain, go into our centre stitch, make our V. Straight into the next one. Don't forget, if you have to, just count them. It's in the 4th one. But sometimes you can just spot it. It's nice and obvious in the centre. But sometimes not. Especially if, like that really beautiful dark yarn that I was using, the purple that goes into the very, very dark blues and purples, it sometimes, depends on the light, quite hard to see where you're going. So sometimes you definitely... I got it. I might have the wrong one. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did. And then into our top chain. So if this were the end of your work, you would now want to end up with the same amount of stitches as you started. So in between, what I would do is I don't go in the posts. I just go into the holes. So we had a total of 3 stitches, including this one. And then we've got really just 2 chain in the top there. And then we've got 3 in this one, and then our chain. So I would just, that's how I would do it, rather than go in each stitch along, which you can do if you'd rather do that. But you want to make sure that your stitch count is the same. So I'm going to make 1 chain and cinch it down, which I always do when I'm going to make, for some reason it won't cinch. Why would that not cinch? I don't know. It just doesn't want to. There we go, that's better. So I'm going to go into that first stitch because this is my very first one, just to make sure. So in this row here, we had 2 stitches. We went into the 3rd. So in that gap, I want to make 2. And this is 2 chain, so I'm going to make 2. And then I'm going to do 2 in this one. I don't think this is going to work out the right amount, but it's okay. I don't mind if it's not the same amount when I get to the other side, as long as it is straight, if you get my drift. If it pulls at any point and it's not working out, I'll put in an extra one. But you just want it to be the same kind of straight edge. I think on my scarf, my 2 edges were not the same amount of stitches, but it was fine because it was identical when I held them up. I didn't know how that worked out, but it did. So having a stitch here and there, less or more, it doesn't make a great deal of difference. If you've got a drastic number, then it will. So I'm going to do 2 in this end and 1 in the post. I don't think I need that one in the post. You can tell. I think it might come out. Yep, it is going to flay out a little bit too much. So I'm going to take one of those out and just go into the post. See what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't need it. So now we've made our straight edge and we can go and do our border, which if you wanted to, you could just do a plain border. All I did for my border was in, was it that? Yeah, in this, the 3rd one, so including the one that's on my hook, so 1, 2, 3, I just did 6 UK treble crochets. Whoops, that does help to take it with you. Let's just 6. It's hard to do it holding it like this. Once it's getting quite round. One more to do. And then I skip one and do a slip stitch into the next one, and it makes a circle. So then I would skip one and go into the next and do 6. I wanted my waves to be quite bold. I've done this before with smaller stitches, which is the one I prefer, but because these were quite big fans, I wanted it to be bold. So I've made it with UK trebles or US double crochets. But if you don't like this border, then you can just do whichever you want. Skip one, slip stitch into the next. And it goes along. I've actually gone on the wrong side. This is actually the rear, but that's how I do my border. But I would, I think, do about, how many did I do? I did a few rows before I got to the border, but it's ever so much your personal preference. So I think I did 3, and on the right side of the work then made my border. But I'm just showing you how I made that border. So obviously you do a few more rows to get you working on this side before you start your border. I didn't think about that when I wanted to show you it, but that's how I did that border. But not everybody would like that border anyway, and if you want to just put tassels on or whatever you want, you can. But I'm just showing you really how to straighten up your edge and pull this, so it's, you always end on this row and then pull in with the single US double UK, and then you can make whatever border you want. But so for the body of this, for whatever size you're making, whether it's blanket or a scarf or a wrap, or whatever you want to make, it's multiples of 4 plus 7, and your first row will always be either a UK double or single US, or maybe a half treble, half double, just to get that first edge nice and flat so that you can work into it. Doesn't really look very nice when you go straight into the chain. It does need that little base, I think. But that's how I did it anyway. That's how I made my scarf, and I showed you there, but on the wrong side, how I made my scallopy border. I'll show you it again. But there are, you know, there are endless possibilities, but that is all I did, was in effect, because I'm in that one already, skip one, do 6 in the next one, skip one, slip stitch, skip one, 6 in the next one, skip one, slip stitch. That's all I did all the way to the end after my few rows of UK doubles or US single crochets. And then you can just turn over and go to the other end and make sure you, because this is obviously upside down scarf. This is the other end here, the right way up. So it doesn't really matter, fans going this way or that. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. And as I said before, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be informed when new videos pop up. I possibly will do more with this stitch because I really like it. I'm not usually one for lacy designs, but I think it's not overly crazy amount of lace. It's only got a few little holes here and there. Quite like it. So anyway, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.